You know, it really is rare when common cards are so powerful they can disrupt an eternal format, though the event is not as uncommon as you might think. When it happens, nonetheless, it's still mythic. Wait, who wrote this? Oh God, what was I thinking? It's not even funny! Nonetheless, Phyrexia All Will Be One is hitting shelves soon, and with it comes a slew of common cards so powerful they may just see some significant play in the Pauper format, the best budget Magic the Gathering format there is, a format of all commons. So presented here are the top 5 cards from Phyrexia All Will Be One likely to see play in the Pauper format. But first, a quick word about this video. This video is brought to you by Displate and Displate. That's right, Displate are all metal wall hangings that you can use to decorate your room with art of your choice, including awesome Magic the Gathering art like this. Help me, Teferi, we must defeat Phyrexia. I can't, I'm lost in time. Woo! Aren't these neat? Just listen to that. Displates are high-quality print on metal, and they're mounted on the wall with the help of a magnet. Whether you're passionate about Magic the Gathering or any variety of artworks, with Displate you can build collections of the things you love right on your wall. I just love how these hang on the wall via a magnet. There are no nails, there are no additional tools needed. Displates are a cool, stylistic way to decorate a room or hallway. So whether it's Magic the Gathering artworks or other cool designs, sure there's non-Magic the Gathering Displates, a huge library of them, but why would you want anything other than Magic the Gathering on your walls? Check out my special link in this video's description and order your first Displates today. And thank you, Displate, for sponsoring this video. So what are the top 5 most powerful new common cards for the Pauper format? Well, there's no honorable mention this time, and you'll see why when we get to our number 1. But first, coming in at number 5 is a simple red card that makes splitting your opponent's life totals down to the bone not very hard. Why, it's Bladegraft Aspirant. Bladegraft Aspirant is 2 of any color and a red for a Phyrexian warrior. It has Menace, and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Activated abilities of equipment you control that target Bladegraft Aspirant cost 1 less to activate. I now draw your attention to that reliable old Pauper blade, the Bone Splitter, which just so happens to both cost 1 and have an equip cost of 1. Well, with Bladegraft Aspirant, that is now a free spell. The biggest thing holding Bladegraft Aspirant back is its own casting cost. While not too high, it's not too cheap either. But nonetheless, this brings a fairly unique effect to the Pauper format. And since it is in red, it means that Rakdos Good Stuff decks, and possibly even Mono Red itself, can find a fun home for it. Now, once in Rakdos, the mana cost can be worked around with a well-timed Unearth. And Bone Splitter may not be the only equipment we aspire towards, in that there's also the delicate beauty of cards like Crystal Slippers, though we'll of course still have to pay the 1 red, or maybe we just want to aim for a heavy hitter like Sickle Slicer, with Aspirant making it a little less heavy to slip into. More than anything, I just get very excited when new avenues like this come to common. But there's a lot more power at the common level in this set, especially at the top of our list. But first, coming in at number 4, we are leading the charge with Charge of the Mites. Modal spells at common. Don't mind if I do. Charge of the Mites is white and 2 for an instant that reads, choose 1. Charge of the Mites deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker, or perhaps just create 2 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. So look, you can now go way back through my Pauper deck techs on this channel and see just how much I love mono-white strategies in the format. From tokens to lifelink to heroic, mono-white has always been strong and incredibly affordable, even for Pauper. And this card, this puts some of those decks over the top. Obviously, the first spot for this is in a mono-white tokens list, pairing great with the existing cards of Suture Priest and Guardian's Pledge. ledge. I can even see this replacing Raise the Alarm, though of course keep in mind its tokens do not block, so maybe it'll just reduce those from a playset to running 2 or so copies per list. The modal ability to damage and eliminate a creature if we have a force on the ground does indeed suffer if our white weenies have been wiped away, but this can hit harder than a Sunlance, and God forbid if they ever print a Planeswalker at common, this will at least be an answer to that. Hopefully that day never comes, but still. And it's not even the most powerful new white common from the set, as Phyrexia All Will Be One also brings some pure disruption in the form of our number 3 card, Planner Disruption. This lovely enchantment aura is 1 and a white and can enchant artifact, creature, or oh my god, again, Planeswalker. I really hope these aren't hinting at Planeswalkers coming to common. Nonetheless, enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. The 2 enchantments I think of when I see this card are of course Pauper favorites Pacifism and Journey to Nowhere. Pacifism is the weakest of the 3, leaving creatures with activated abilities still able to activate, something Disruption includes. But what Disruption also hits brings it above even Journey, as Journey can only target creatures as well, but Disruption can hit an artifact, or, Planeswalker, but again, hopefully they never come to common. Despite this being a better card for Pauper than Journey or Pacifism, the format has far too many mainboard answers for it. If you will recall, when I invited Andrea Mengucci to come shuffle up and play in the Pauper format with me, we saw all those decks, except mine I guess, were running mainboard, makeshift munitions, and deadly disputes. Very commonplace in the format these days, giving our opponents both answers and added value to any creature or artifact of theirs that we should wish to disrupt. Nonetheless, having answers to a card doesn't mean the card is useless. Creatures die to removal after all, but that doesn't mean you don't run them, and Planner Disruption is still a card I think has the power to make some impact on the format. But what are the top 2 common cards from Phyrexia All Will Be One for Commander? Well, number 2 might be my personal favorite from the set for the format, and it is blazing its way right into at least 2 decks I already own. That card, of course, is Blazing Crescendo. I love it. It's 1 and a red for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. Okay, just right off the bat, the fact that this says until the end of your next turn instead of the end of this turn makes it so much more powerful, because if you exile a card that you don't have the mana to pay for or isn't situationally appropriate, you get a whole other turn to make use of it. So can you guess the 2 decks I'm putting this in? Both are about $20 to make, and they are mono red burn and mono red heroic. Absolute favorites of mine. In addition to the litany of classic burn spells, pairing this with Firebrand Archers to ping for 1, swing for 5, all while playing a card off the top of our library, is made all the more sweet when the card off our top of our that card off the top of our library may just be another Blazing Crescendo. Can you imagine? Or again, any of the huge host of powerful Pauper burn spells. But oh, in my precious mono red heroic, I've got Satyr Hoplites and a Crowan Crusaders to make tasty targets, as we wait for that all too potent Temur Battle Rage to hit. Wait a second. Temur Battle Rage is in yet another Pauper deck I love and also own, and it's a deck that also shares a card with mono red heroic, Kiln Fiend. So if Blazing Crescendo would be amazing on Kiln Fiend and mono red heroic, then imagine if I ran it in that old favorite of mine, Pauper Blitz! Nivix Cyclops and a host of other counter, burn, and draw spells to brainstorm my way to victory. I love this card. It's going in a minimum of not 1, not 2, but 3 decks that I already own. And while it is the number 2 slot on my list, it has a number 1 spot in my heart. But oh, sometimes on these lists I do say the number 1 and number 2 spots are interchangeable, but not here. And also, remember how I said there was no honorable mention because of this number 1 pick for Pauper? Well, what is it? Coming in at number 1 is actually multiple cards. And the honorable mention is what they all share in common, pun intended. Because the true number 1, from Phyrexia All Will Be One, is literally the huge host of common cards with toxic and poison counters. Infect is back on the menu, baby! And in a big way, with multiple color combinations of potent and poisonous decks set to take over the format, thanks to cards like Prologue to Prologue, Vraska's Fall, and Branch Blight Stalker. Now you could say these 3 are tied in the spot, but it's not just them, because there's just so many more viable cards that interact with poison counters, such as common proliferators and other tasty toxic treats. But I feel these cover the 3 different colors and also strategies that Phyrexia All Will Be One enables. Prologue to Prologue is 1 and a blue. For an instant that reads, each player gets a poison counter and then replaces itself as you draw a card. This is likely going to encourage control-based infect strategies, where you win through denying your opponent resources while slowly building up and proliferating their poison counters. Vraska's Fall is similar at 2 and a black, for each opponent to sacrifice a creature and get a poison counter, and at instant speed. And while of course this might see play alongside Prologue in some blue-black lists, I think it is much more likely to utilize a classic mix of combat and removal in Golgari Glory with cards like Whisper of the Dross and Copper Long Legs. But remember, this is a format where Blighted Agent and Glistener Elf are already legal, meaning a traditional aggro-based infect strategy is made all the more potent with Branch Blight Stalker, a 3/1 with Toxic 2. Heck, with Branch Blight and Glistener, I could even see some cool mono-green elf strategy that uses an infect win as an alternate to straight combat damage. But that is exactly what's so cool about the bevy of new toxic and proliferate cards at common in Phyrexia All Will Be One. They aren't just making one existing infect deck better, but rather have created a multifaceted breeding grounds for a wide variety of new decks and new strategies. That's why toxic, poison, and proliferate encompass everything from honorable mentions to the number 1 spot. All in one. Phyrexia is one. You know, one of the most exciting things about a new set is that even at the common level, there's interesting cards to evaluate, discuss, and make bold predictions on, such as this video. But now I want to hear from you. What common cards from Phyrexia All Will Be One do you think are so powerful they may see play in Pauper? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, thanks once again to Displate for sponsoring this video. Remember, you can use my code for an awesome discount on this awesome artwork or whatever you select from Displate's vast library, but hurry because it's for a limited time only. Remember, Displate, using the power of magnets. How do they work? It's lightning. We determined that. Thank you, Displate, for sponsoring this video.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, 2 titans of Magic the Gathering commentary coverage. The one and only Cedric Phillips. The other one and only Patrick Sullivan. And you chose the format and the decks. And the choice was modern.
Yes, these are our cards. These are 100% my cards.
Let's let this be the last friendly exchange of this match.
Perfect. Deal.
All right, so second main phase.
Do it.
I'm gonna pass priority to you. I'm just trying to keep a clean game.
But yeah, I'm gonna get a basic island.
Wonderful.
Of this snow-covered variety.
Why is there snow cover lands in this deck?
Because they're cooler.
Here, definitely not.
Okay, well, I would not play a creature.
Why? Well, like, do you have a lightning bolt in your hand or something? You don't know the number of personal grievances over the course of 20 years that are being aired out right now in between these communications.
20 years?
Neither did I.
We've known each other for a long time.
It's true.